overtourism, which is the phenomenon of particular destinations becoming too successful for their own good. So it could be a very small place, like in the far west of Scotland. Here we have an island called the Isle of Skye. It's a very, very small rural island, but incredibly beautiful and extremely popular with tourism. And it's having all sorts of effects on the island economy there, on house prices, for example. And then the more obvious destinations such as Barcelona or Venice, places that are always going to be at the top 10 of, people's bucket lists or dream destinations, and have huge problems with volume, including the ones I mentioned, but also pollution, which I think leads to the second big problem, which has been the sustainability of tourism, particularly as the world becomes more mobile and developing countries become traveling countries, China especially. The carbon footprint associated with travel is only going, or was only going, sky high. And that has led to a lot of soul searching about how we reduce it and where kind of personal responsibility lies. Perhaps less so, because I think those are the big two problems, would be the kind of the ethics and morality question that comes into travel, particularly certain destinations, and this whole idea of dark tourism and the draw to places that are very established as dark tourism sites, such as Auschwitz or the 9/11 memorial, but also increasingly more difficult to reach places, from Chernobyl to in London. I wrote recently about early tourism at the site of a terrible fire in a tower block, the Grenfell Tower in London. And I think we're going to see a lot of tourism in Wuhan in the coming years, and there are already signs of that. I hadn't thought about it a lot until I wrote a story about the rise of dark tourism. And there are two themes, I guess. One is that it's nothing new. The name is new, relatively new, and it's kind of become a phenomenon. But, you go back to the Roman Colosseum thousands of years ago, and people paid to watch other people die. In London, people paid to watch mass executions, and you could buy a pie while you watched people die, and that was considered domestic tourism at the time. And then Pompeii. What is Pompeii if not a dark tourism site? And rich British travellers in the 18th century would have gone there and scratched their name in a wall to say, I was here. And now people go to, Auschwitz, or in smaller numbers to Chernobyl, and they might put a photo on Instagram. And it's not so much I was here, but I am here, look at me. And it's a different way of visiting what's known as difficult heritage, but it's also nothing new. But I think what's happened is that the way Instagram looks and feels, for example, highlighted some of those ethical debates and brought them into greater focus, and made us kind of question where we want to go and why we want to be there.